Hello, you're back with Dave and Tim at the Single Malt Review for another then versus now, old versus new taste comparison. Thanks to channel viewer and local whiskey champion Heine, who kindly donated us a sample of assorted whiskies from his recent birthday tasting.
Yes, indeed. Bringing the birthday to the planet. Cheers.
Now it's a classic bottling versus a contemporary bottling of 12-year-old Highland Park.
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating one. This one is going to be... This could be seriously weird. There are few distilleries which have enjoyed a change in fortune quite like Highland Park. Highland Park went from, well, not nothing. It went from a perfectly ordinary producing distillery to the hottest nonsense the world had ever seen, by winning a conspicuous award and being named the best brown spirit in the world, which I think means it's that's lining it up against any spirit you can't see through, and that's a crowded room. So. Deservedly or not, that kind of shot Highland Park into the stratosphere, and it has never been the same since. And they've gotten into all sorts of nonsense and Vikings and yada yada yada. Which, I mean, fair enough. There's a significant Viking influence in Orkney. It's one of the, I have been to Orkney, and it's fascinating. And there is indeed a significant Viking, or well, we should more correctly say Nordic influence there. And it weighs heavily on the culture. But it really isn't, if we're being honest, anything to do with the whiskey. And they couldn't have probably given two hoots about the Vikings when
Especially
they set
being
this one up.
established in the late 18th century, 1798, I believe.
And you can see this by comparing the back of the bottles. This one's claim to fame is that it's the... Ooh, I'm doing it wrong. There we go. You probably can't even read that anyway. But the gist of it here is that, this is Scotch whisky, and it's the most northerly distillery.
Yeah. Whereas the more modern bottling honours the spirit of our Viking ancestors, sharing their pride, integrity, and fierce independence.
Yeah, you get to read the whole saga on the modern bottling.
Either way, in other respects, though, these are two remarkably similar whiskies. Both 12-year-old age statement, which is great. Both 40% ABV, which is comparatively low by modern standards, but good, and it means that we're trying as close as possible the old versus new incarnations of the same whiskey.
Taxonomically, they are very, very similar. I should show you the bottle of the old one. That's a weirdo bottle. That's quite unlike other bottles.
It reminds me of a slightly like a truncated Glenmorangie bottle.
And a little bit. It's quite unlike anything else. It's quite weird. I like it. It's odd. It's odd.
Yes.
Anyway, let's pour this one and see what the hell has changed.
We have the glasses we prepared earlier of the modern 12-year-old.
They share the big fat lid. That's what they've kept.
Different iconography, different heraldry on the top.
Well, that cork's seen better days. Oh, it's on the ropes, that one, but we're still okay. That might have unleashed a few shards into the bottle there, but never mind. Won't do me any harm.
Decant with care.
So this one is on its very last leg, so we'll just do a smidge out of here. Though actually I will need a slight boost from the other one because I put water in that one and it's looking a little thin.
Oh, I see on the back of this label a alphanumeric code which I see a 22:89. Just possible the 8, and then there's followed by a 1213. So maybe 1989?
Possibly. I'll bet we can look that up. Maybe if I've done my job, that will appear in the video. But
2209 on the other side. Anyway, possible clues. Yep. A gentle splash of that one.
So yes, this really is a piece of history here. And speaking of taxonomy, the older one, looking a wee bit darker to me. Just a smidge. Not too far off.
Pop that down.
But yeah, just a wee bit darker. Right, let's get all this gaff off the table. So you can see our gorgeous faces better.
The new and the old.
How has it changed? And you know what? I can say that it is gonna. So the old one, which we really, really rather liked. The old one is it's a real gentleman of a whiskey.
When you say old, you mean the one which we tried first, yes? The old.
I'm very bad at this, aren't I? Yes. The original. Oh no, that's not helping.
The new expression, the new
contemporary. The contemporary expression.
This is the classic.
We really rather liked. I thought that was a pretty jolly good whiskey.
Yeah. Like, jokes about the Viking iconography aside, it is a phenomenal whiskey from a great distiller. It does excellent product.
So, the old one, though.
Once again, less of a sweetness. It is much drier on the nose.
Tinder dry.
Yeah.
I'd almost call that... I'd call that smouldering.
Yeah, it's a smidge
driftwood.
lighter in colour, I think, but then I poured different.
I thought the older one was a hair darker.
Yeah, you
but
have
it would
poured
be-
similar quantities, whereas I went for a smaller pour, so it's going to affect the light penetration.
But yeah, pretty different. This one is drier. The old one
Yeah.
is drier. There is less of that sort of honeyed heather sweetness coming through, and it is. There's a smoulder to it. There's an ember. There's a not
like an
quite
old-
out campfire to it.
Yes, speaking of it, like the dying embers of a bonfire.
And there's just a slight lash on the nose.
Yeah.
There's just as it kind of scrapes past the olfactories, there's a warning to it.
I'm going to, as before, refresh my palate with a quick swig of
probably a
the
good idea.
contemporary bottling in this elegant Highland branded glass for
Yeah.
extra new
Yeah,
whiskey.
we had to dig deep to find enough Glen cans for this thing. You think you've got when you think you've got an infinite supply of Glen cans from accumulating them over the years, then something like this rolls along and you're
Then a quick swish of water to clear the palate. Now on to the vintage bottling of the Highland Park 12.
okay. All to be revealed.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Night and day.
Lashings of lime juice and lime cream. That's
That's radically different.
Yeah.
That is radically different. I was hoping for at least one radical difference, and this one
What
one
else
ain't
is
no
there?
slouch.
Yeah, I'm getting just oodles of lime flavor, all the different incarnations of lime, from fresh fruit to juice to synthetic lime flavored sweets. I'm trying to reach out beyond that, go beyond those first impressions, trying to discern more.
There's all sorts of citrus. There is the peating. I'm not sure if the factor has changed. I don't think it has, but the nature of the peat is completely different. It is, minerally. It is coaly. There's a sooty grubbiness to it, which is, I kind of love it.
I'm not really getting that. I'm just overwhelmed by the citrus acidity. Just a smidge of water, the tiniest drop, and see what happens.
And there's just a teensy little bit of savagery on there as well.
there's
There
some
is
smoke.
a little bit of, there's a sharpness to it which does not exist in the more modern
Yeah, that is
iteration.
prickling the nostrils with a little water, despite only being 40% ABV to begin with. Sorry, I nearly
Almost lost it.
smoked my glass across the table.
So, yeah, there's less of a careful nature to this one. This is the modern one. We should say we really liked it. The modern one was
absolutely.
quite reserved. It was quite buttoned up. It was doing a lot, but it was doing it very subtly. There was a lot of sleight of hand moving around, as I almost knocked my own glass over. This one's a bit more raw, and I guess you'd expect that from whiskey from the 90s. Things hadn't converged into this sort of the god substance that whiskey is now regarded as.
Fashions have changed. What audiences, consumers, drinkers want has changed. So it's moving.
This
with
is
the
a bit
times.
more hard drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really torn as to which one I enjoy more.
Have you added water to the classic?
No,
volume? that has
a little
really
phobic
brought out
about
the,
that. Okay,
the smoke
let's see.
and the minerality for me in a way
Let me
that
see.
I'm tasting, I think, what you described now.
Because I'm, as any follower of the channel will know, I give a lot of leeway to whiskies with a great individuality to them, and this one has a great individuality, but I think the overall quality, the overall make of the whiskey is better in the modern example. I think it's a more precise drop. But let me try it with water, as Dave has suggested.
Yeah. That
I see what you
Unleashed
mean.
the smoke
I see
for
what
me.
you mean, yeah. Hey, I'm trying to think of something I'd compare it to, because Highland Park is the last thing I'd compare it to. This is way... This is way louder than Highland Park. For as much as modern Highland Park likes to go on about the Vikings and whatnot, this is way more brutal whiskey than the modern version ever is. The modern one, like I say, that's a gentleman of a dram. This one's a bit more hard drinking, and I do kind of respect that, but I don't think it's eking out in the scores. I think they're both really good, but I think the precision which has gone into the blend of the modern one is going to eke it slightly forward. I think the modern one...
Yeah, I don't remember the scores we gave to modern expression when we tried it.
Yeah, well, that'd be embarrassing going to find out now. So let's just let's no one check that at all. No one mentioned that in the comments by any means. We are banned from the channel. So I think it's not going to be a huge gulf in score, and I do quite adore them both, and I can see where this one's coming from. This is a bit more. This has got fight in it, and I do love a whiskey with fight, but I have to score the right way, and the precision which goes in the modern blend ekes it out by a couple of points. I think the older one, that's an 88 from me, but the more modern one, that's actually a 90. It's a really, really precise whiskey, and I can tell the love and the care that's gone into the construction of that one. It's such a balancing act. What do you think?
Very close on my scores. Rating the modern 89, the classic an 87.
Right,
they're close. But there's just a few more points in favour of a modern.
So there you go, another one. And again, this is a surprise to me. Another one that has improved with age, or improved with modernity, I suppose. And I guess so it should have, because goodness knows the price has gone up. Highland Park has gone into, it's become one of those whiskies, and
it's gone into orbit.
That's never a good time when you end up with one of those whiskies if you want to, taste it. So, thank you, Heine, for taking the bullet for that one. It can't have been cheap, but that beside, we're very privileged to try an older example. So I hope that was of some informational merit to the world at wide. And we've illuminated the history of Highland Park for you guys. So stay strapped in for the last one, which should be another interesting exercise, because it's Talisker, which has another interesting sort of a lineage from older bottling. So we will find out. Okay, we'll let you go. We'll be right back. Sláinte.